We are 8 days away from the game. Michigan traveling down to Columbus to face Ohio State, but there is a game tomorrow, and hopefully the Michigan football team hasn't overlooked it like I have in some ways, and I think a lot of the Michigan football fan base has. But we will talk the latest today on Michigan football injury rumors for tomorrow and into next week. Plus, have a little preview towards the end of the show. Talk about some things I'm looking for tomorrow, Michigan, Illinois, noon Eastern at Michigan Stadium. How about Illinois starting running back, the nation's leading rusher, Chase Brown? His stats for tomorrow is what? We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. But before we do, folks, we've done this for the past year and a half, almost 2 full seasons now. If you want Michigan to win the Big Ten, I'm just kind of, next week's going to be all Ohio State. So we're going to kind of package this one up, the next 3 games, Illinois, Ohio State, Big Ten championship game. Give me a like on today's video. Let's see if we can get to 750 likes before tomorrow's game. Don't be the guy who jinxes it. Just remember, if Michigan were to lose tomorrow, the Big Ten championship game, somehow losing Columbus next week, and you don't like today's video, you watch it, you're a Michigan fan, it is your fault. That's a fact, so make sure and like today's video. Chase Brown, nation's leading rusher, has had a hell of a season. And if he was Chase Brown, Michigan running back, or Chase Brown, Ohio State or Georgia running back, he might be up there with C.J. Stroud and Blake Corum and Hendon Hooker as a Heisman Trophy favorite right now. 280 carries so far this year, nearly 1,500 yards, and only 7 touchdowns, which has really been holding him back so far. He left the game on Saturday with only 22 seconds left, kind of hobbled off the field. There was talk after the game, speculation, nothing's confirmed, and Illinois has really kept this tight-lipped. We told you on Tuesday that Brett Bielema said that he was progressing well and maybe even expected him to play. My guess is, from everything we're seeing here, I think you've got to sometimes, in this job that I have of trying to inform to the best of my ability, you've got to sometimes connect dots when all the information isn't there. From what we have heard and what has been speculated out there and how the betting lines have moved a little bit, my guess is he will not play tomorrow. But I could be wrong, and it's been a hell of a season for him, right? This past Saturday's game, they're on a 2-game losing streak, but last week was the first time all season in 10 games he had not gone over 100 yards. So first 9 games of the year, all over 100 yards, some of them well over 100. And then he finished with 98 yards in last week's loss when he left the field with 22 seconds left. So was almost going to have a perfect season, until he met Michigan, of course, on Saturday. But if he doesn't play tomorrow, or hell, the rest of the season, it's been a hell of a year for the star Illinois running back Chase Brown. Now, if he doesn't play tomorrow, remember, Michigan has the opportunity with Blake Corum to maybe have Corum jump up. He's like 100 or so yards behind him for the nation's leading rusher. Folks, today's show is presented by Established Titles. If you haven't yet, you need to get started with Established Titles at establishedtitles.com/chat. What is Established Titles, James? It is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It's a project based on the historic custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, or lords and ladies in English. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. We plant a tree with every order and work with global charities One Tree Planted and Trees for a Future to support global reforestation efforts. You can officially include the title Lord or Lady on your credit card, plane tickets, or dating profiles. Sup, ladies. It makes a great last-minute gift, and the first 200 people purchasing a title pack using our link here, establishedtitles.com/chat, will have a plot effectively next to mine within minutes of walking distance. Depending on how many of you get started and want to become a lord or lady with Established Titles, we can build our own little Michigan football kingdom over there in Edelston, Scotland. It makes a great, amazing last-minute gift, and Established Titles is having an early Black Friday deal going on right now, up to 80% off. Plus, you can get 10% off extra using our link, establishedtitles.com/chat. The link is down at the bottom of the screen, also in the comments, also in the description of today's video. Click it, get yourself one of these bad boys just like I do, have a plot next to mine, or buy one for someone in your life. It's a really easy gift to buy, just like buying someone, naming a star after somebody, or buying some moon rocks. You can be a Scottish landowner with Established Titles and officially be a Scottish lord or lady. Go ahead and get one now. establishedtitles.com/chat. One more time, check this bad boy out. I just pulled it off the door in my office. establishedtitles.com/chat. You can call me now, folks, Lord James Yoder. Load management is the word that we're going to use, that I'm going to use here talking about Michigan's injuries, because a couple guys that left the game last week, Donovan Edwards and Mike Morris, I don't believe their injuries are anything more than bumps and bruises, something to keep you hurt but not injured. If you guys remember from the program back in 1993, if you're hurt, you can't play. Or you can play. If you're injured, you can't, right? I think Michigan's got a couple players, mostly Donovan Edwards, Mike Morris, maybe a few others, that are hurt right now. And as such, I think that maybe that they're going to, not play tomorrow. We've also got news we're going to talk about here in a second on Luke Schoonmaker. But before we dive into that, I want to make sure you guys give me your score predictions. Michigan versus Illinois tomorrow, Big House, 12 o'clock on ABC. Senior Day, right? Senior Day for a bunch of Michigan seniors, including Ronnie Bell, who we told you earlier in the week will not return next year, is going to skip his COVID 6-year senior and enter the NFL draft. So give me your score predictions. I think it's going to be a boring game in a lot of ways tomorrow. So I'm going to go 34-13 Michigan is my score prediction. So go ahead and give me yours down in the comments. So alluded to that here just a moment is I expect Donovan Edwards and Mike Morris. Really, Mike Morris might be Michigan's best player on defense or best 2 or 3 players so far this season. I don't expect him to play tomorrow. I could be wrong. Now, Donovan Edwards, I think could play tomorrow as well, but I don't expect him to play. You might see him in uniform, might see him warming up. That's fine. Now, I want to preface Edwards and Morris, and then here with Luke Schoonmaker here is trying to connect dots here, right? Don't have definitive information. So usually if we have definitive information, like we did with G-Mon Green and others, Eric All, we will tell you that this is what's happening. These ones, it's been wildly quiet on the injury front right now. So I'm just connecting dots, hearing what the playbook looks like, hearing what's going on in practice. Edwards and Morris have been there, but not a ton. Luke Schoonmaker, though, has not practiced this week from what we're hearing. So I don't, if you kind of connect the dots there, Edwards and Morris, they're not a big part of the playbook. They're not necessarily taking the starting reps. So that's why I'm saying I don't expect them to play tomorrow, but they want them fully healthy for the Ohio State week. With Luke Schoonmaker missing last week's game, not practicing from what I know so far this week, I think you could probably chalk him up as doubtful, questionable, whatever the term you want is, against Ohio State. And if we learn anything more about that, we certainly will tell you about it. But as of now, I don't expect either of those 3 guys to play tomorrow. Offensive line stuff is still a little murky, but I do think Michigan has a good chance of having the entire offensive line back in the lineup for Ohio State game 1 week from tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, Michigan, Illinois, we will have the fastest Michigan football post-game show on the internet. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Michigan TV. And then join us again we'll have a video Saturday, of course, post-game Sunday, Monday. But on Tuesday, we will be live again at 6:45 p.m. Eastern for the fourth edition now of the College Football Rankings Top 25. Shout out to some of our guys here. We roll out the helmet if you didn't watch it last week. For people who super chat $20 or more. Cool Moti, my guy. John Blaze, who was last week's super chat MVP. So thanks so much to John Blaze. Wolverine Alaska and his daughter Leanne both super chatted. And then Preston Yoder, my son, spotted me a 20 spot to get the stickers going. So if you want to join the show, want to be part of the helmet, once we fill this bad boy up, just like a Michigan football helmet, I'm going to sign it and pick somebody to ship it off to. So join us on Tuesday night. Things I'd like to see tomorrow versus Illinois in what I expect to not be a very, eventful game, right? It's going to be a dreary day in Ann Arbor. It's going to be cold, windy, maybe even a little bit of rainy. But I'd like to see Michigan get 2 touchdowns for Blake Corum. I was a little disappointed that they didn't give him after he kind of got the team down inside the 10. They gave the carry to J.J. McCarthy. I guess, give Ohio State something else to worry about. Cool. But if you're inside the 10-yard line, inside the 5, give all the carries to Blake Corum until it's, maybe scrub time there at the end of the game. Give him those 2 touchdowns. Get him 100 yards. If Michigan's up by 10 points or more, get him out of the game. He goes into Columbus with an opportunity, if he kind of does that, as maybe the nation's leading rusher, and a win over Coleridge Stroud gets him the Heisman Trophy. Maybe the biggest as far as Michigan's, viability of beating Ohio State, I think may come down to the downfield passing success. really the last 6 or 7 games, almost you could say the whole Big Ten season outside of the Indiana game. In some regards, Michigan has struggled to pass the ball more than 15 yards downfield. Early on, a lot of people, myself included, were blaming on J.J. McCarthy, overthrowing guys by a yard here, 2 yards there. But as of late, last 2 or 3 games, there have been more drops than the entire rest of the season combined. And guys like Cornelius Johnson, even Ronnie Bell, and others, Andrew Anthony has had opportunities and been not being able to make catches. I think the wide receivers have underperformed this entire year, and Ohio State's going to pack 8-9 guys up within a few lines of the line of scrimmage to stop Blake Corum, maybe even to stop J.J. McCarthy. If Michigan can't complete downfield passes in one-on-one coverage or one-on-none coverage, maybe, right, go 3-4 guys out, then they're going to struggle to score at a high rate, I think, against Ohio State. Looking for some second-half domination from this Michigan football defense. First-year defense coordinator Jesse Minter, I pronounced a little dyslexia there. Minter nominated for the Broyles Award, so Michigan potentially could have back-to-back Broyles Award winners after Josh Gaddis somehow won the award last year. Now he's down in Miami. A little bit of struggle there for Josh Gaddis, but this team in the second half, this defense has dominated the last 5 weeks. 0 points for Indiana. 3 points for Penn State, 0 for Michigan State, 0 for Rutgers, 0 for Nebraska. That stat across the bottom of the screen, one of the crazier stats I've seen for this program in the 30 years I've been following it closely. 117-3 in the second half of the last 5 games. Michigan has outscored their opponents. It's not for that field goal against Penn State. I mean, you'd be pitching a shutout in 5 straight second halves. That's absolutely absurd. I hope it bodes well for Ohio State in a week, and I'm guessing that alone is the reason why I think Michigan will, the second half dominance, handle Illinois rather easily tomorrow, although it will probably be a sluggish environment. But I'll ask you guys this question. Knowing that Michigan's only given up 1 field goal in the last 5 games, will Illinois score in the second half tomorrow? Go ahead and type Y for yes or N for no. I'm just going to keep the trend going. I'm typing my N, so I don't think they will, but let me know. And especially if Chase Brown doesn't play, I'm basing my 13 points on maybe he will play, but if he doesn't, I think it's going to look a lot like the Nebraska game last week where they're just completely outmanned Illinois is on offense and really can't get anything going. So type Y for yes or N, like I did for no. I'd like to see Michigan come out with something unexpected tomorrow, right? Something that Ohio State has to think about. If you think back to last season, one thing Michigan did, maybe it was Gaddis, maybe it was Harbaugh, who knows, they did some unexpected things on offense, and they did them consistently. A.J. Henning on the reverse. Donovan Edwards coming out the one game against Maryland, catching 10 passes. The flea flicker seemed to happen almost every game once Michigan got out of the non-conference schedule. And we haven't seen that enough. We've only really seen A.J. Henning on the reverse, 3, 4, 5 times this year? I mean, it hasn't really been a big part of any of the game plans. Has there been any flea flickers that we have seen? So I like to see maybe a trick play tomorrow, even if a flea flicker, Corum getting the handoff, pitching it back to McCarthy. Hassan Haskins, Cade McNamara, they did that 10 times last year, including the Ohio State game. It was successful nearly every single time. Maybe a block punt, right? Michigan hasn't really been aggressive on blocking punts. Send 10 guys, send 11 guys, whatever it is. Block a punt. Give Ohio State something to think about. Or more Alex Orji, right? Put him in the game for a play. Maybe J.J. McCarthy hands off to him. Maybe he goes in there as the Wildcat quarterback. Something unexpected. One more thing for Ohio State to go, whoa, we got to prepare for that. And maybe a less of preparation they'll have for Blake Corum. I'd like to see a focused team for 60 minutes. It's going to be hard because and I know that you're not focused on Illinois. I'm not focused on Illinois right now. But it'd be great if Michigan cannot afford a look-ahead game, a look-ahead loss, which I don't expect to, but crazier things have happened. If you guys recall, back in 2006, I don't know if it was the game before, I think it was 2 weeks before Ohio State. Michigan was number 2 in the country. Ohio State was number 1. The entire country was talking about this game for 2-3 weeks straight, heading into it. Michigan almost lost to Ball State and Brady Hoke. They were number 2 in the country. They needed a defensive stop. They needed a score in the fourth quarter, etc. It was a one-score game in the fourth quarter, Michigan-Ball State. Let's not let that happen tomorrow. Be focused, no turnovers, no sluggish plays, and more than anything, maybe no drop passes in these wide receivers, which has become a real problem the last month of the season. I don't expect the best game Michigan's played all year tomorrow, but I would like to see him at least come out focused, get up 2-3 scores, and then if you look a little sluggish after that, cool. But if it's a close game or anything like that, don't go unfocused and let Illinois come up and sneak a victory on Senior Day at the Big House. Focus for 60 minutes unless you're up by 3 scores. How about that? Reminder, folks, if you would like Michigan to win the Big Ten, it is on you. The onus is on you right now. Like the video, that's guaranteed, right? That's just how it goes. But if one of you guys are dissenters, you're risking the entire season for all of us, so don't do it. Don't be that guy. Don't jinx it. All right, we will be back tomorrow. It is the fastest Michigan football post-game show on the internet, so make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/MichiganTV. Till I see you then, go Blue.